Good morning, everybody. So Monday morning, and we're hopping on a little earlier than what we did with the other summits. The reason being is because we have a wonderful gentleman all the way from Australia, and it is late his side, early our side. That's the only way that you can sort of organize something like this when you're doing the East and West. So we are going to welcome wonderful Michel all the way in Melbourne. And he is a SPD leader in Lifewave, been around for quite a long time, and we're going to hear more from him. Good morning, Michel.
Good morning, all. Good to see you.
First and foremost, we were chatting a little bit before we started, and I want to share a little bit more of what Michel had to share with us, because I think it's really important. So on that note, you're the Dutch uncle, and I wanted you to explain a little bit more around that, because many of my team follow you, and I think it'll be nice to understand fully why you've used that little phrase on your social media platform.
Yeah, it was about 4 or 5 years ago when X39 was launched that I went online. I've never been online before, and very quickly people got confused about my nationality because my name is French, and obviously I'm Dutch Australian. I'm not French at all, right? So I thought I had to identify myself, and I came across the term Dutch uncle. And Dutch uncle, the definition for that would be a benevolent, stern, and firm teacher. And once I started obviously teaching people online what the patches are all about, I thought that title suited me perfectly. So I adopted it, and now I'm the Dutch uncle.
Fantastic. And we love you for it, because you bring along so much wonderful information. Love your posts, love following you. So let's start right at the beginning, because I think it's important. The reason why we did the summit is to show people that you can actually succeed in network marketing. You and I were chatting, and we know that there's so much negative around this industry. So really to show people the potential of building big businesses around the world. The reason also I want to just share that Michel didn't come on last week was because he was moving. And this is one of the most amazing things that happen in your life. When you are growing a network marketing business, you are earning more income, and your life truly does change. We've seen how the others have been traveling. Wonderful Alexandra couldn't make our summit in the first time round because she decided on just decided to go to the Bahamas from the convention. And that's what you can do, because you have extra income. And I think many people look at this industry and they don't believe that they can make a substantial income and build a big organization. So right at the beginning, where did it start? Were you more corporate driven, or have you always been part of network marketing?
Well, I came or migrated to Australia when I was about 21 years old. And very quickly I was self-employed and got myself into the shipping industry, where I became a ship's chandler. And 10 years after that, I also started a ship repair company. And I ended up with 30 plus people employed, engineers, tradespeople. And that went very, very well for many, many years. But I think in a space of 2 years, I lost it all. I never had thoughts about that. Obviously, I thought it was just a temporarily problem, but the problems in the business were chronic, and I reinvested all my earnings from 20 years back into the business, trying to save it. Didn't happen. So then I found myself without work, without my business, and also my wife at the time departed. So I had a few losses, and yeah, as it happened. But for some reason, I've always been entrepreneurial, and I've always been looking at opportunities, right? Traditional businesses, but also online businesses, affiliate marketing, network marketing, anything that could earn a significant income, because I'm not in the business to earn a little bit of money. I'm there to make a significant difference to myself and the people that I deal with. And then about 16 years ago, Lifewave came knocking on my door while I was living in America. And at that time, it was just IceWave and Energy Enhancer. And it was not that easy to build a business with those two products. But when X39 came along, somewhat 4.5 years ago, that changed my universe, right? Because that product is truly phenomenal. All the other products are phenomenal as well, but X39 is just from another universe or something. And with that product, you can't really go wrong unless you stop communicating about it.
Agree.
That's the bottom line. If you stop communicating, you're done for.
And we're going to talk a little bit more around that. And also what I'd like to do, I'd like to go back to, all your sufferings and your losses. I think, Michael, one of the things that I believe in is that when something like that happens in your life, it's called transformation. Sometimes it's really hectic to go through something like that. But sometimes when you've lost everything, the universe, whoever you want to call it, is just guiding you in a direction that you're meant to be changing and going into. So sometimes people don't often look at loss like that, especially when it's your wife and your business together. Couldn't have been easy. So it just guides you into another direction. So we just spoke about it now before we came on. So you've just mentioned communication. And I think that was a very great topic to talk about, because so many people we spoke about hate network marketing, probably because of the sales driven side of it. People often say to me, Mandy, I'm not a salesperson, I'm not salesy. So chat a little bit about the communication, because I think that was a really amazing topic to just amp up a little bit as we're speaking.
Well, communication, we think we know how that works. We are all able to talk, but it often is a skill of listening and making sure that you understand the needs that people are looking for. You can't sell something to somebody that has no need for something. If I perceive that they need something, that's not a good start. So through communication, you can get to know what is needed and wanted. And once you know that, you are able to offer a solution. And in our case, X39 is a universal solution to many of the problems that people face. In my own case, financial hardship, I know what that is like. I've been there, I've done that. Losing your wife, or not so much losing her, separating from your wife, that's another big thing that could have pushed me down and kept me down. But for some reason, my natural communication skills were developed, and I had to talk to for example, women. That's not easy after 20 years of marriage. To talk to women just to see if you got a chance, right? But everything in life is about your communication skills. But when you get rejected or when you have a failure, that's registered as pain. So therefore, a lot of people introvert and they stop talking and they stop communicating. And it's not because they don't want to talk to people, but they don't know how to get past the upset of the rejection. And that's a skill set that you can easily learn. That's something you can also do online. It doesn't have to be necessarily face to face. And it's all about relationships, right? And networking could be called relationship marketing, and that's more appropriate, I would say.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that I believe in network marketing you've got to open up yourself to is personal growth. Like you've said, Michael, if you are an introvert, you've been through a lot of bad experiences in your life, is get online, do a course. There's so many out there to help you grow, in your personal growth, to help you step out of that comfort zone. We spoke about it. If you want to succeed in anything in life, you have to step out of that cocoon that you put yourself in. You can't stay at home, not speak to people. That's not how your life is going to change. So I think in many ways, not just, as we said, not just for network marketing, but for anything in life, you have to communicate and get out there and do it. So what was the greatest struggles you found, other than obviously only having the two products, energy enhancers and Lifewave, that you found was part and parcel of growing your business, maybe in the beginning or anywhere along the line?
Well, in the beginning, 16 years ago, it was a lack of time, right? And that's often something that people will bring up. But the funny thing is, busy people somehow find time to do the things they like doing, right? And they can work 20-hour days if they have to, on pure enthusiasm, on pure excitement, passion for the product. It goes a long way. Now, how do you become passionate about Lifewave? Well, you need to put some patches on some people, and then you get some amazing results most of the time. And after that, your love for Lifewave and the technology just grows. And it's impossible to not talk about Lifewave. Every time I meet somebody, I look at what is needed and wanted. From my point of view, like you can see somebody limp or be in pain, but that doesn't necessarily mean that these people want to deal with their pain. They may have other problems on their mind, right? And a lot of people obviously are dealing with financial struggles. But even that is a communication or lack of communication. Because anybody who's good at communicating is always needed and wanted by every employer in the world. They are very employable, people that are able to talk. And it's not necessarily sales talk. We're just talking about talking, right? And I believe we, in Lifewave, have a product that is worth of talking about, right? We're not selling toothpaste. We're not selling shampoo, right? I always say, we're selling a brand new future. Oh. So who doesn't want to buy a brand new future? And absolutely, and that's intriguing for people, right? If you put it in these terms, so we are selling a brand new future. Would you like a brand new future? And most people would want to buy that, right?
So yet again, it's value. Now, you have an exceptionally large following on social media, and you and I just chatted. You only started 4 years ago. So many people look at social media. You can look at the young. Young are the ones that are really understanding this technology. They grow up with it. They've got it on their laps from 1 year to however many years old. So elder people coming into this industry, I think many people think, I've got a 70-year-old that's just started with me, Michael, and she's opened herself up to learning, and she is doing YouTube videos. She's getting out there and sharing the product. So, we look at the old and the young, but many look at social media as, oh my word, I don't want to put myself out there. What are people going to think? So what made you decide to just start your group and get out there on social media, not having done it before?
Well, like I said, initially, somebody that signed up with me that I sponsored, so he put his message out on Facebook. And within a week or two, this guy signed up hundreds of people, right? Personally sponsored. So I had hundreds of people on my second generation, as we say. And I look at that and I go, how the hell did he do that? Right? I had no clue. I hardly look at Facebook. The way I recruited that guy was just by calling him on Skype, I think it was. And he signed up. He had some great results with his family. He told his network about it. And his network is not necessarily network marketers, but he had a big influence group. And he tells, 5,000 people about Lifewave, and a couple of hundred people sign up in a space of a couple of weeks. And I just go, that's the way to do it. You need to create a list. Obviously, that's where the money is, as they always say. And on Facebook and other social media platforms, it's not that difficult to grow a list, but you need to be willing to be persistent, communicate, and then as soon as you reach a certain size, people come running for you. Right? If you just have 100 people as a member of your Facebook group, yeah, that's slow going. But if you keep pushing, you will soon get into the thousands of people, and then obviously other people want to join it because of the size of the group.
Absolutely. And I think what many people don't realize, it's just like your network marketing business, it's the momentum. You've got to be consistent and you've got to continue, and then eventually you've got momentum, and that momentum just builds and builds and builds. And I think, you know what, Michael, I've also found that from me and my team, I've seen a lot of people that have just stopped because they've got frustrated, they've got irritated just before they're ready to actually get momentum. And it's actually sad because there's, I often talk about the time frame of network marketing. First year, you're learning everything. Year 2 to 3, you're going to build that salary that you might be able to leave your present business for. Year 3 to 5, you're going to triple your salary. Year 7 and onwards, you guys are the experts. You become an expert at what you're doing. This is where you share ideas and tips on how to grow. Every one of us have grown our business differently. So I think that's the saddest part, is having people stop just before they've even started. So, we've spoke about this before we came on as well, and it's that complete negative connotation around this industry, that it's the pyramid scheme. People don't actually realize that it's the very same as the corporate industry. If you've got Microsoft that's only got one person at the top that's trying to grow the business, it doesn't work. So it's exactly the same, and it's so interesting. So what do you think is the concept of network marketing that stops people? We've spoken about sales driven. Is there anything else that you can pinpoint that stops people from looking at our industry with much more potential than what they look at a normal job, where they sit in that job for 40 years, earning a pittance?
Okay, well, the way I look at it, they don't want to carry responsibility. And responsibility, like raising children is a big responsibility. Going to university, big responsibility. Making money is a responsibility. So after a while, again, people don't like responsibility, so they decline before they even start, or they start, and as soon as the responsibility level goes up, then they decline again. Right? They can't cope with the responsibility of doing something every day, and talking to people and helping people. Really, we are in the business of helping physically, emotionally, but also with business strategies. And the whole thing boils down: are you willing to come out of your comfort zone and be responsible for your own goals? Really. And that's another thing. People need to set goals when they start, not just, I'll give it a try. No, it's as soon as you start, you need to keep going until you get to a level where you can have some more choices.
Yep. Amazing. So we have got the most incredible product on the market
For
to date.
sure. Yep.
We are not a wellness company. We are a technology-based company, with David at the convention showing us all of these wonderful things that I'm very sure he's going to be launching more in 2024 for the 20th anniversary.
Yep.
How do you chat about objections when you're chatting with someone? We've just spoken about, you said, do you want a new future? How do you deal with people's objections when you are sharing this incredible product, Lifewave? In particular, I think, just like you said, a new life, but many people will object to price and a few other things. How do you deal with that in your team?
Well, obviously, it's fair to say people are struggling, right? So you need to be considerate about price point. But the fact of the matter is that if you invested, let's say, $500 as a gold pack, that if you worked it hard and keep going, you should, within, let's say, realistically, within your first month, you should be in profit. And then the price, as far as you're concerned, is still a matter of importance, but it doesn't have to come out of your savings. It doesn't have to come out of your earnings. It can come out of profits. So it's just a vision that people are lacking, that they think they're going to pay $100 every month for something in products that they don't need. Well, first of all, you do need these products no matter what you choose to do. But secondly, with a little bit of work and a little bit of communication, you can be in profit, realistically within a month. And after that, how far can you push it? And, you can get into the higher levels of income that can pay all your bills, not just payment for your patches, right? I pay all my bills and more with my Lifewave income, and the sky is the limit as far as I'm concerned.
I think yet again, Michael, it boils down to activity, and every single day. And I think that's what gets most people, is they start on a Monday and by Wednesday they're tired. It's like, oh, I can't speak to any more people. I've had 50 no's. I don't want another 50 no's until Friday. So how many people do you need to speak to? 1,000 people to get 10 yeses? That's what we do. And I think that's what makes our industry a little harder, is that you've got to push through all the no's to eventually find the yeses. And I think I also share with my team, many of the team come to me and they'll say to me, oh, Mandy, everyone's telling me that it's too expensive. And I said, but then you stop talking to them. You keep them on the side, you keep on sharing wonderful testimonials. And on the other side, you find the people that are saying yeses. So I think that's, yet again, you're saying, people are stumped by that block that's like, okay, well, too many no's. I'm not going to do this anymore, just in case I lose more friends. No one wants to talk to me. So I think it's the hurdles that we either hop over, or otherwise some of us need to climb over. So we find it tougher than others. So with the convention, amazing convention this year, way more people than we've had the last 3 years. Definitely world class, definitely really professionally done. What were your thoughts on the convention? And also, I think, what are your thoughts on the growth of Lifewave going forward? Because we can see immense growth going forward.
Yeah, well, just with the patches, we can see immense growth. There's no doubt about it. But first of all, I need to point out that Lifewave as a network marketing company is entirely different to any other network marketing company that usually has a board of directors, or they have multiple shareholders, or they could even be listed on a stock exchange, right? And here we have one guy in charge who happens to be an amazing humanitarian. He truly does it for the people. He doesn't do it necessarily for recognition. He doesn't do it for the money. He truly has his intention set to changing the world. And that brings us to the next generation of products that are to launch soon, hopefully in 2024. Power generation. The other one, power generation. Imagine that you can generate your own power cheaper than you can buy it from the grid. And in some countries like South Africa, they only got 4 hours a day power anyway.
Yep.
So any amount of power
Anything will be good.
will be very helpful, right? And then obviously we have water generation with obviously loaded with special frequencies, etc. And then obviously we have the ability to grow our own food, fruit and vegetables, and probably plants and flowers. Now, the main thing there is that people might not be interested in patches because they don't understand it, right? But people do understand electricity. And if you can imagine that by next year you can tell a story about the ability to generate electricity, to not be so dependent on the grid, that opens the door to another, $1 trillion industry, and more importantly, other types of people that are more interested in technologies like electricity than they would be in supplements or in patches. And that's what I look forward to. Even today, I spoke to a person who's been in my business for a long time. He's got a big business on one side, as we say, but he's never built the other side. And I said, well, mate, by next year, you could get very excited about electricity and build the other leg. And that's a way to picture for them. You need to picture it for them what this business could be doing for them. Because most of these people are struggling with money because they're getting paid too little for every hour they work. That's the bottom line of it.
Well, not only that, Michael, remembering that David has created a new drone, which will also give us free communication, which is also, I think, just the cherry on the cake. So that was also one thing that was launched or going to be launched in the future for countries or whatever the case may be. So truly a master of what he does. As you said, this is an inventor beyond what most people can comprehend. So I know that you've met David a few times. A little bit about David and just the type of person that he is and the aura that he gives off.
I'll give you an amazing story. About 7 years ago, David calls me on Skype, right? We used Skype in those days. And he says to me, you know that I'm a Marvel movie devotee. He loves these movies. Now, I'm not necessarily into Marvel movies, but he is, right? So he says, online, there is a guy in Australia, in Melbourne, and I don't know where he is, but this guy is terminal, and the next movie, Marvel movie, is out in 6 months, and the doctors gave him 3 months to live, something like that, right? And he says, can you please go and find this guy and tell him I will send him a couple of $1,000 worth of patches, trying to keep him alive so that he can see this movie that he wanted to see. And online there was a petition going on trying to lobby Marvel to get him to see that movie before he was going to pass over, right? So, but the bottom line is, so I find this guy the next day. And I go, oh, well, I've got some good news. I've got this American friend of mine, David Schmidt. He's willing to help you out with some technology that can help you and that perhaps can extend your life. And then you can see this movie, right? And he says, okay, I'll have a look at it. Now, this has a very bitter twist. After a day, I had to call this guy back because I had obviously promised to David that I would tell him where to send the patches, right? So I called this guy back, and unfortunately the guy goes, well, this is a scam, right? He hit me hard with everything under the sun of how bad, of who the hell I thought I was, and all the things that Obviously, he didn't look too far. He must have looked at something negative or something and formed his opinion. So I had to ring back David Schmidt and tell him, look, it's sadly not going to happen because the guy is not willing to accept your gift. But to me, that was a game changer. It may not have been for this guy that refused his gift, a gift of life, I would have said. He refused it. But for me, it truly showed what David Schmidt is. He is a very busy person, and he made time to call me to try to help an unknown person in a faraway country, Australia. I think that's unheard of. I don't even think I would do it myself. But here was David Schmidt, who was very busy, willing to help somebody that he's never met and probably will never meet. That's amazing.
So I'm going to amp up on that one, Michael, because we have a lovely lady by the name of Tiana. She's got lung disease and heart disease. Her mom and I connected with one another about a year ago. And at the time, her mom fell on hard times and we weren't able to continue the patches. And her mom got back to me recently and she said, please, we've got to get Tiana back on these patches. And I said, okay, I'll tell you what, let's try and see if David will sponsor the patches for Tiana. We'll share her story, we'll share your story, and we sent off the email. It wasn't a day later, and also with the help of our wonderful upline, Chris, it wasn't a day later, an email came back and he said, absolutely no problem. Within the next few days, her patches had reached Tiana in Cape Town, and Tiana is doing amazing on the patches, and we will definitely be following her story. So absolutely, that is David's heart. And it's sad that some people won't acknowledge the good. And I know that many people, Michael, on my side as well, they connect with me with Lifewave. They go and research the net and see a few of the negative things that people have said without looking at the value that millions are having with these incredible patches. And their choice is then to take the negative rather than the positive. We can't change people's mindsets. It's a personal choice. But yeah, just to amp up on my side as well, the thanks that we have for David, just the humanitarian that he really is.
Yeah, well, just on the sideline, obviously the patches are able to change people's mindset, but we just need to get the patches on people, right? And that's the trick. But usually when the patches go on a person very quickly, it's game over. They love the patches.
Well, David, Michael, when I do events, I have some really skeptical people sitting in the audience, and when I take those ice waves, generally the best patch that I like using because it's so quick, and we've patched a few people in particular that are in pain, and it's really interesting to watch their facial expressions because it's from this kind of stern, as your Dutch uncle, the stern, malevolent. They still want to be kind, but they want to be like, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to just take your word for it. And then when they get this total relief, it's like a bit of confusion. There's a little bit of happiness. There's a bit of surprise, and they're not quite sure what to say because, half of their heart is like, I really don't believe this little patch can do that much. And then, oh my word, it's taken away my back pain from about, 20 years or 5 years or 2 years or whatever the case may be. How the hell did it do that? It only gives your body light. So I think, yes, there is that bit of, up and down emotionally wise. So yes, I think our hardest part is to get patches actually on people. Michael.
That's the hard part.
Listen, I want to thank you. It's been an absolutely wonderful interview. Really lovely to meet you face to face. Can't wait to see you in 2024. We'll definitely see you in Orlando and meet you there. Thank you so much, Michael. Have a fantastic evening.
Goodbye to everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Michael.
Bye.